Hello, boys and girls. You're listening if you're on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes, and watching if you're on YouTube. Peter Talks Smackdown. A very late Peter Talks Smackdown at that because of having technical issues and moving it back to make sure that the Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling episode 53, if you haven't listened or watched it yet, go back and check it out because of the technical issues to get that up first. And because of scheduling and jobs and things of that nature, me and Jake weren't able to get up until Saturday. That video and audio is up, so go check that out. Smackdown, it's Sunday, so I can, keep things in order. Again, I'm using a new device. I have an iPad, and I'm still getting used to using it. Before I had my phone and so on and so forth. But I can talk and give you excuses all day. But I would much rather talk Smackdown and thank all of you for checking out the show and checking out the previous stuff. So, again, if you haven't yet, episode 53, we Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. We talk SummerSlam and we talk Raw Brooklyn. It's some good stuff. So, if you haven't yet, go back and check it out. And also check out the New Day podcast from Monday. We also talk we talk more about NXT TakeOver, and then we talk about SummerSlam. I'd like to give a shout out to Keita Hubbard for this cold that I have. If I sound like crap, I apologize. I blame Keita. She must have sent that shit through the interwebs, and now I'm all nasally and I sound like a damn idiot. But so check this out, right? Let's talk some SmackDown because that's why you're here. That's why you're listening. That's why you tuned in. And let me give you your SmackDown review from Providence, Rhode Island. And this, in terms of commentary, normally is Tom Phillips. I guess he's on vacation or something. But he's filled in by the NXT play-by-play guy who goes by the name of Rich Brennan. Now, if you watch NXT, I'm curious to know how you feel about this guy. I'm not ultimately sold on him on NXT. I mean, he has a long way to go. I'm not gonna say that he's bad, but he definitely has a long way to go in terms of being able to call play-by-play. And plus, I don't know what it is about manly voices. Now, I'm not saying that I have the most manly voice, but, between Michael Cole, I think Tom Phillips is probably the only person in commentary that has like a deep voice, a deep, like manly voice that takes control. Someone like a JR, you know what I'm saying? And Tom Phillips he's a little too nasally for me to sort of take serious, and plus he has bad timing. And it showed, I'm not going to mention it during the review, but it showed a lot of times that his timing was just off. But either way, you had King, and you had Jimmy Uso, who's a riot this episode. And the show starts off with the Wyatt family. And as you know, if you watch the show, last Monday, in a tag team match between Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt against the ILD, minus the SH, that's the bromance of Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, they ended up getting a third member, this big motherfucker who goes by the name of Braun Staumann. He's a strong man, dude, and he's just a mountain of a man, a big motherfucker. And this was basically his coming out party to a certain extent. At Raw, they debuted him in the back. Now this is him in the ring as a presentation to the Providence audience, SmackDown audience, who the hell this guy is. And first Luke speaks, and I love it when Luke Harper speaks. I wish he would talk more, but he puts over Bray Wyatt's truth, and then Bray speaks about family, and then he speaks on Sister Abigail and how Sister Abigail was getting this person ready to join Bray Wyatt, and this person he speaks of is Braun. He introduces Braun, and he goes through the list of what the Wyatt family represents, as faces. Well, not as baby faces, but the face of. And Bray sees himself as the face of fear. Harper is the new face of desolation. Braun, on the other hand, he's the new face of destruction and annihilation and blood and death and tears and pain. I mean, I swear, man, that motherfucker we haven't seen the likes of a Braun type of character in quite some time. So maybe he's a little green in the ring. He didn't hold much time down at NXT. Again, he was a rosebud. So, I mean, it's going to take... And all we've seen now of him is just him roughing Roman Reigns the fuck up and Dean Ambrose. So, I guess when he gets into the ring, I wonder how his presence would be. I wonder what his moveset's going to be like. If it's just going to be like no selling and just slamming and punching motherfuckers, I mean, we're in for something. I mean, book that shit for Brock. At some point, Brock got to face someone who's as big as him. And maybe that's who they're like grooming him for, and not necessarily for Cena. Because Cena's been down the Wyatt family route. He doesn't need to go back. And then Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose come down old Shield style. Before, when they're doing their whole tandem, Dean would actually come down the ramp and Roman Reigns would come out of the stands. But this time, they're both coming down the stands. And it's something. We haven't seen that in a while, in a long time. The both of them just coming out through the stands. And when they get down to the bottom and they stand in front of the commentary booth looking at the Wyatts, Ambrose turns to Reigns and he goes, "I'll take the ugly one." So we don't know which one he's talking about, right? So they get into the ring, and there's a face-off, 3 against 2. Braun, Harper, and Bray are looking at Dean and Roman Reigns like they're pieces of trash, like they're big jokes. They smile, they back the fuck out of the ring, they back up the ramp. And that was the opening segment, which basically leads into the fact that, not leads into the fact, but you find out that Dean Ambrose is facing Sheamus for the main event. Next up is the debut of the Dudley Boyz on SmackDown. The debut of the return of the Dudley Boyz on SmackDown. And when I saw on Monday that they were going to actually be on SmackDown, and the first thing I could think about is like, well, they're not facing the Lucha Dragons. They're not facing Los Matadores. The hell show not facing the Primetime Players. So the only other tag team that I would even suspect or even think to suggest would get into the ring with 3D, you guessed it, folks, the Ascension. And I was like, I hate that those guys never really given a chance. I'm still a Ascension mark. I will always be an Ascension mark. But man, those guys weren't given a chance worth a fuck. And the first of the return of the Dudleys and where they represent in the tag team division, they become feast, whatever. It sucks. That tag team division is. I can't wait till they bring in more people. I guess at some point. I mean, bring back if just bring fucking Kaz and Enzo. Just bring them up, man. Just fucking bring up everybody. Just go ahead and just because the tag team division is looking like the Divas division of old. Not that the Divas division is looking all great here now. I mean, they're fucking up, but goddamn, it is depleted. But as the Dudleys are walking out, Jimmy Uso is marking out, which I found to be kind of weird because he is a tag team. He's in a tag team with his brother Jay, and he's excited that the Dudley Boyz are back, not putting over the fact that at some point they're going to face each other. I mean, I get it, but I see a feud coming soon between the two of them, and I wish he was more or less excited. Like, I'm gonna face him when we get back. I'm gonna face those guys. Me and Jay are gonna face these guys when we get back in the ring, and I'm excited about that. But he's like, oh yeah, like almost like a kid, and it just didn't make any sense. The Dudley Boyz themselves, I guess, working as a tandem, they got to knock some dust off because they've been performing everywhere else but the WWE. So they have been doing a lot of indie stuff and this and that, and now they have to get back into WWE form. And you can tell in this match, and I'm glad that they were able to, in fact, have this match on SmackDown and not on Raw, so they can sort of work out the kinks. And working with the Ascension, and basically that's all they know. All they know is the WWE speed. Even though they jobbers, they know the WWE speed. And you notice during this match that the Dudley Boyz need to slow down. But it's not the smoothest of matches. And I'm not going to blame the Ascension whatsoever. If anyone else blamed the Ascension, you're fucking idiots. This is the Dudley Boyz having to take what they've been doing on the indies since they left TNA or say left WWE back in the day to now, right? And they're not spring chickens, and they're trying to do too much. You can see them forcing it. But like, look guys, it's SmackDown. Calm down. We just want to see you out there and get your bearings. They try to get one table spot, but they're stopped by Connor. And that which results to a Dudley Death Drop 3D on Connor. They finally get the tables, and then out comes the New Day. And the New Day are a riot. They come out with signs. One of the signs says, save a table, break a Dudley. That's Xavier Woods' sign. And then Biggie Langston, he has a sign that says booty. Just says booty. Just random. And then Kofi Kingston is holding up a sign that says hashtag give tables a chance. Oh man, when I finally figured out what he had on his sign, I was floored. I don't know what it is, man, because we get it. They're trying to equalize the idea that the New Day are so awesome that they're about to get cheered, so they have to equalize it, turning them heel by bringing the Dudley Boyz because you're not going to root against the Dudley Boyz. But man, I'm gonna be rooting for. I don't think the Dudley Boyz even come close to the fanship that I have for the New Day. And when they start their feud officially for the belts, New Day rocks. All right. So what is it? What the hell happened? So yeah, they powerbomb Connor through a table from the top buckle. Right, and I think they had already won the match with 3D, with the Dudley Death Drop. They already took the victory, but then they had to go back and fuck up Connor some more by putting him through a fucking table off the top buckle. Assholes. Up next is Neville versus Kevin Owens. And I'm looking at my notes. That's why I'm looking up. If you're on YouTube, I'm looking up because my notes are right fucking there. And the thing that I instantly thought when I saw that Neville was facing Kevin Owens on a SmackDown. 3 letters and a question mark. Why? Why is this happening? Can someone, because I know WWE Creative, I know you watch this show. Why the fuck is Neville on SmackDown facing Kevin Owens? Because all I could think is Neville is not going over. He's not going over in this match. And plus, you take 2 pretty much internet darlings against one another. So one has to win, one has to lose. Because anytime that one of those internet darlings goes up against anyone from the, an established main roster guy, it's like, oh, they're getting buried. They're getting buried. Oh, there's young talent. Young this, young that. Like they did with Cesaro versus Owens. So you got this match where one of them has to go over and one of them has to fucking do the job, which is like an aneurysm to most like internet nerds. And then nobody, there's no mention, there's not even a distraction, there's no run-in, there's no even thoughts of each one of their individual storylines in terms of who they're feuding with. I think they mentioned something about Neville having something to do with Stardust. And then I don't even think Cesaro was mentioned at all. Right? So they get out there and they just fight. Owens, Owens wins with a super kick as Neville tries to springboard into the ring. And then he's hit with a fucking pop-up powerbomb. Right? Well, that was a move earlier where it was like a helicopter neck breaker that was pretty sick. That was nuts. Save yourself, Owens. I thought you were a prize fighter. You fight for the big matches, not SmackDown. But I just thought it was strange for Neville, who's red hot, I guess, out of his feud, if it's still ongoing, with Stardust and Stephen Amell on his side, to basically doing the job on SmackDown to Kevin Owens. I mean, deservingly, but they could have did another match. And and I know Nathan, and I know Keita, that it's SmackDown. It didn't happen. It doesn't count. I get it. I fucking get it. But it's still, this is my show. And if I want to bitch about this, I will. Ugh. Next up, you have, in the back, you have the Bellas playing mind games with Lynch and Flair, and like, where the hell is your leader? And it gets PCB. Paige is not around. And the Bellas are trying to, basically play mind games, trying to bring dissension amongst the PCB crew. And then as a return, as a receipt to this, is I think it's Becky Lynch brings up, I'm not sure if it's Becky or Charlotte, but it's one of those motherfuckers brings up the Bella's rivalry of 2 years ago of Nikki telling Brie that she wished that she was dead or some shit like that. Like, do you remember that shit, right? I know you don't want to remember it, but I thought it was pretty funny that because the WWE doesn't too often talk about old storylines. Like, after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, very much like the Kevin Owens versus Neville match. Like, they don't even bring up shit from a week ago, let alone bring up something 2 years ago. And they brought that shit up. It's like, I wish you were died in the fetus, some shit like that, and all that. And then that left like a little weirdness in the back with the both Bellas kind of apologizing to each other about, oh, that was the past. But I just found it interesting. Which leads to their match coming up. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch versus Brie and Nikki Bella, with Team Bad on commentary. Sasha is out there, and she brings up tapping out Nikki and wanting a title opportunity, a title shot. They don't bring up the fact that she just lost the belt to Bayley at all. Okay, so she's removed from NXT. She's finally on the main roster. And she's the first so far out of this whole Divas Revolution to bring up the idea that she's entitled or in position for a title shot. No one from Team Bad says any different, right? All right. I bring that up because, I mean, at one point, Naomi wanted a shot. I mean, she got her shots, but, I mean, I imagine it's the belt. You always want a shot at the belt. But Sasha brings up that she tapped her out. We see what happens. Because, again, until you make storylines, until you stop pulling the wool over our eyes to the idea that Nikki holding this belt is going to break AJ Lee's record. They bring it up, but they're not putting people in position to actually threaten beating the record. Like, let's just say Sasha Banks, it's like, you know what? I want an opportunity, not only at the belt, but to beat the streak. You know, it's like the streak. Or like, bring up a storyline where she starts defending the belt. And maybe you start from the bottom, right? Maybe you do like the John Cena US Open Challenge type shit. Where, you know, Rosa Mendez comes out, right? Or say, I mean, and it's not going to get Nikki over any more than she already is. But let's bring up people who just are down and out, right? People who, like Emma, you know, unless they're rebranding her or rebuilding her back up. But just people that they don't utilize in the Divas division. And just have Nikki squash them and brag about how she will beat AJ Lee's record. And that no one stands in her way. Right? It just sucks. WWE, again, get your shit together. Stop pulling the wool over our eyes. And just straight up admit. And just straight up, like, just... All right. I digress. What I want to say is, don't look for a storyline anytime soon. And don't look for Nikki Bella to drop that strap anytime soon. And I mean soon, like anytime soon, like within the next like 6-8 months. Because they really want to get rid of that AJ Lee record so far, like that no diva can ever reach that pinnacle ever again. And I almost see that with Seth Rollins holding the belt. And anytime, and when we do my predictions coming up, you know, Night of Champions, Survivor Series, Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, doesn't fucking matter to me anymore. Both those records held by AJ Lee and CM Punk, the two people with the belt right now, which is Seth Rollins and Nikki Bella, mission, get them out the record books. Okay? That's what's happening right now. And maybe it looks a little it doesn't seem so obvious with Seth Rollins, but yeah, he's going to hold that belt for quite some time. So any prediction shows coming up, if Nikki Bella's involved in terms of defense, if she gives if there's an opportunity for her to actually defend the belt, which I doubt, we're just going to deal with these factions and until she just kind of creeps by and beats the record, the reign. And Seth Rollins, anytime that those motherfuckers are in the ring, my predictions, my money's going to be on both of them every single time. Nope, there's going to be no. I mean, they'll drop a storyline or some shit, right? Where it will leave you on your toes and keep you guessing. All the ruse, buddy. Put your money, put your house, put your children, put your car, put your 401k on both of those people. Double the odds. Get your money by betting on them every time, because ain't nobody dropping those straps anytime soon. Flair gets the pin with the Charlotte's Web. They basically Lynch and Flair beat the Bella Twins. So fucking what? doesn't mean anything. Seth Rollins cuts a promo about being immortalized after defeating John Cena to hold both the U.S. and the World Heavyweight WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and that he was looking forward to his statue presentation to be amongst the gods. And it was ruined by Sting. He talks about how it was ruined by Sting, and he shoots on Sting, and he calls him jealous, and he repeatedly calls him old. Called him a freak too. Old. He calls him an artifact, and that he was going to crush his old bones. And I mean, this promo lasted at least 17 hours, so I just made it pretty concise right there. That Sting should be worried about him, and that Seth begged for the match to face Sting. Not looking good for Sting. I was excited as fuck when he was unveiled, and he looked great. He looked so awesome. But they're basically gonna do the Triple H booking by just talking. I don't know, just not making him look good. You know, I don't want to hear Seth Rollins. I don't want to hear Seth Rollins talk about how old Sting is. I just don't. You didn't hear Brock Lesnar talk about how old The Undertaker was, right? You just don't do that. You don't do that to the Taker. Taker, I think they're about the same age, Sting and Taker. Taker's put more, damage on his body, so he comes out looking older. But Sting looks awesome. And he's definitely 57? But he looks great. And he's Sting. So if you're not going to talk about how old The Undertaker is, please, WWE, I beg of you, cut that shit out with the age. Cut it out. It's not a good look. It just isn't. It is double standard. If you want to talk old age about Sting, you have to talk age and how old The Undertaker is. You have to. You got to balance that shit out. I'm not nitpicking. It's just one of those things. You need to watch that shit because it could do more damage before even getting into the match than anything, because all of a sudden you're going to have Michael Cole and JBL and fucking, Byron Saxton talking about Sting's age and how long he's been in the industry and that he's old. Ugh. Not good. You get Sheamus in the back, shoots on Ambrose, and he mentions that he has the Money in the Bank briefcase. We got to do something with this guy. He beat Orton clean, and he almost cashed in. Again, he's gonna have another failed Money in the Bank attempt. There's going to be a second failed Money in the Bank attempt, and it's going to be because of Sheamus. And Seth Rollins, yes, ain't letting that belt go anytime soon. So just start your watch. Just crank that son bitch up and just watch that son bitch tick until I would say a good year. I mean, past WrestleMania, I would say until next SummerSlam, possibly, that Seth Rollins loses that fucking belt, and maybe to a cash in. We get right back Ziggler versus Big Show and Rusev. There's a spot where Jimmy is talking about Big Show. This is before they enter the ring, or Big Show's in the ring waiting for Rusev to get into the ring. And he mentions something about the Big Show's attire and that he's out there looking like he's in the A-Team or some shit like that, right? And he goes, please don't tell him I said that. And Brennan turns to him and goes, well, what if he watches the show? He goes, hey, dog, I'm Jay, dude. I thought that was funny. The Jay said it. That's what he said. The Jay said it. And that I just thought that was pretty funny. Jimmy's funny. I bet he's a real cool dude to be around. Oh well, that was pause. Well, anyway, this match itself has everything to do with the dissension between Rusev and the Big Show, and Rusev being a scumbag, he tagged himself in. And basically was taunting the Big Show as he's in the ring beating down who's that? Ryback. And then he's beating down Ziggler. And then when the Big Show and then he's teasing to tag him in or not, and he's being a scumbag. He's yapping at Ziggler, he's yapping at Lana, who by the way needs to fucking change her attire, man. That outfit is hideous. And then I think to a point, Big Show tags himself back in. Oh, he gets tagged in. He does, what is it? It's a Ziggler hot tag. He almost botches a Fameasser. It looked scary, but the Big Show, kudos to the Big Show, who's really showing his ass off recently. He catches him on his fucking shoulder and results in sort of falling electric chair, which looked really good. And then he followed it up with a KO punch. And as he's kind of like backs up a little bit, Rusev tags himself in. He turns to the Big Show. He starts talking shit to the Big Show. He's looking at Dolph down and out. He applies the accolade. And then, boom, the Big Show just clocks Rusev. And he walks out on the match. He takes a walk. For Ziggler to come to and just climb on top of Rusev for the 1-2-3 pin. I don't know what the hell to say about this. I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say. I mean, this match itself came off like a house show tag team thing. But when you have Ziggler in a feud with Rusev, Big Show still kind of in a feud with Ryback. Now you're going to have Big Show feuding with Rusev. That mid-card, I can't. I can't. I just can't. It's too screwy. I don't know what to say. I mean, I always have something to say. I'm speechless to what the WWE is thinking with this mid-card. I have absolutely no clue. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the main event. It's horrible. It's horrible. This mid-card is so horrible. What the fuck are you doing with Ryback? What the fuck are you doing with Dolph Ziggler? What the fuck are you doing with the Big Show? What the fuck are you doing with Rusev? I mean, Rusev is probably... he's getting heat. He's a jerk. He's a scumbag. Fuck that dude, right? But it's still not known what the fuck they're gonna do with any of those guys. I even think that this tag team itself was called like, what the fuck are we gonna do with these guys' tag team belts? Like that's the new division. The mid-card division is like, what the fuck are we gonna do with these guys? So there's a what the fuck we're gonna do with this guy. World Heavyweight Championship, and then you're going to get two jabronis, and they're going to have a what the fuck are we going to do with these two guys tag team belts? Like, just what the fuck are we going to do with them? What the fuck are we going to do with them? Now it's the Intercontinental belt, right? That's a what the fuck are we going to do with this guy belt, right? And then the tag team division itself is a what the fuck are we going to do with this division, right? And then once upon a time they had a what the fuck are we going to do with this guy heavyweight champion? And then they absorbed that into the WWE Championship. So the what the fuck are we going to do with this guy champion? That guy's fucked. He's fucked. Oh, God. This main event, Ambrose versus Sheamus. Sheamus comes back. He brings that fucking dumbass move back where he, like, takes the leg and puts it over his neck. God, that's the dumbest move ever. That is the dumbest fucking move ever. And not only that, it's pretty reckless. So not only does he have that fucking knee over his neck, and it's the weirdest looking thing. He stands him up. He stands him up, right? Ambrose tries to fight out of it, which results in a sit-down powerbomb. Ambrose loses this match, and all I could think is, man, what the fuck, right? We know this is coming. You got the Wyatts out, talking shit, and Ambrose is just going to have this match without any distraction? God! Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Braun Staumann, I got to get used to saying that name, are standing outside the ring. And that distraction leads to a distraction bro kick. It was a straight boot to the motherfucking face, which results in Sheamus getting the victory, the 1-2-3 pin. The Wyatt family then starts to climb the ring to pick the bones. And before they can actually put a hand on him, here comes Roman Reigns with the save. And he comes flying and fucking Superman punches Harper. That's the Raw general manager. Sorry about that. And then he's face to face yet again with the big boy Braun. And Braun is a repeat performance of him just manhandling the shit out of Roman Reigns. And then he's crushing his neck. And then he scoops him up and he puts him in that hangman position. And then he flattens his ass with that move, the move he has where he puts him on his shoulder. But he no-sells every punch. He just strangles. This big motherfucker. But Roman Reigns strangled and planted as the Wyatt family stands over his dead body. Follow the buzzards. Yeah. So that concludes SmackDown. Thanks for getting through this. I apologize for the wait again. Technical problems. It'll never happen again. Peter Talks SmackDown will be up on Fridays. Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling will be up on Wednesdays. Then you have the New Day podcast. That's me and Nathan Newman. That is on Mondays before Raw. And I also have Peter Talks Wrestling with. The last one I did was with Keita. And then last week she did SmackDown review with me. If you're listening and you want to have a discussion about today's product, you just make a podcast, talk about what you like, what you don't like, hit me up. Tweet me at PJTW Central. Again, that's PJTW Central. That is Twitter. You can hit me up there. You can leave a message in either the SoundCloud account. You can leave a message below in this YouTube video. You can email me at pjtwcentral@gmail. You can do all those things. But if you want to talk wrestling, some wrestling with your boy Peter, just let me know. And again, you can find this at iTunes now, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio. And if you have a Tumblr account, you can also listen to the Peter Talks franchise on the go, at home, doesn't matter. I just want you to listen. And if you can do, I know we got great listeners, and I definitely appreciate that you guys click and listen. But I need you guys to do another thing, and that's subscribe. Let me know you subscribe. Sharing. Like, if you can share this, if you like this kind of dialogue, and you think that you have other wrestling friends on Twitter or on Facebook that would appreciate this kind of talk about wrestling, just share it. Just hit that share button, hit that repost button. It works wonders, especially if you got friends that respect your judgment. You can leave a comment. Just say, "Hey, Peter, shut the fuck up." Hey, it's a comment. I'll be like, "All right, thanks for the comment, bro." You can thumbs up. You can hit the thumbs up. that helps with the ratings. So whenever someone's looking for wrestling dialogue, if I accumulate enough hearts and thumbs up, then it would come up in one of the top searches. And yeah, and follow PJTW Central. Again, I will see you Monday for Raw recap, and then the New Day podcast, and then Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Until then, thank you for checking out Peter Talks Smackdown. And always, always watch out for those foreign objects. Be easy, folks.